there was a pretty darn good mark.
Yeah, before he ended up going off to the side for a bit. He does hold that, but he didn't play as many games as everybody else. So
sure.
How would it turned out? But speaking of how the LCS turned out, I want to go back to this mid lane featured matchup. Soren XD joined Copenhagen Wolves. He's 2-7 with them. His only wins are on Orianna and Ziggs. So if they can take a champion away from him, then they're going to limit his champion pool on what he's been successful on. His champion pool is very limited. He likes those AoE wave clear champions, whereas Fibivin is all about the Zed, all about the Yasuo. He's been playing a lot of Ahri as well. And then he always has that Orianna, which we see multiple shockwaves over and over again. And look at that. Look at the bans.
Yep.
Orianna splash.
Nope.
Update.
Gone away. Yeah, even though we are playing on 4.14 here, the guys at the wonderful production studio keep updating all the assets to the new sexy splash arts. So sweet new Orianna splash art, sweet new Shyvana splash art. It's going to be glorious. It took me a second to realize what was going on at first, because it's like that's not the icon you're going to see in champs like if they pick the champion. But it'll be fun to watch regardless.
Regardless, a lot of mid lane bans coming out already. That means this top lane, Maokai is up right now, and this is actually a test. Because Youngbuck hasn't been playing Maokai in solo queue. He never played it in the LCS, but I heard he's been playing it in scrims. And you know Dwamna is going to take that away. But if there is a Maokai, he will play Mundo into it.
Interesting. Well, it's the test for the matchup here. Youngbuck has been a player that I think was sort of slow to adapt his champion pool while in the LCS. But he's had basically a month to play the same patch over and over again and get used to what he thinks is good here. So here's the true test. What do Wolves think they want to first pick here? Kha'Zix the hover. All the junglers are available. And if Aerox wants to take Kha'Zix away as the top pick, he is.
Here's the thing. Trashy is more than comfortable playing Lee Sin into that matchup and having that aggressive playstyle that he loves so much.
Well, that might be the pickup here. So Aerox will get Kha'Zix. Big brawler, highest kills for a while in the LCS for a jungler, and he's got a killer here for himself. If Kha'Zix does get kills, it's unlike many of the other junglers, like a Lee Sin or an Evelynn, where if they get the first 3 kills, you know they're going to fall off. Kha'Zix doesn't do that. He keeps spiking up through about 25 minutes, and that's plenty of time to carry a game through. Yeah,
you typically go 3 offensive items on him with your Elder Lizard, Brutalizer, Last Whisper. Some people even go a Hex Drinker on top of that. But H2k, look at that.
Solo lanes already grabbed. The early Ahri for Fibivin. The Rise top for Dwamna. Again, Maokai is still available, and this is 414 Maokai, which actually is the same as live Maokai anyway, I believe. But either way, still a strong champion.
Yeah, Fibivin is actually warming up with Ahri when I was talking to them earlier. He has really good mechanics. He loves those assassin-type champions to get other lanes snowballing because he doesn't like to sit around. He likes to go cause action.
And it's a great playstyle. I really love action-oriented mid laners, especially ones where you can wave clear pretty quickly and then just get out of your lane. These slight AP ratio buffs to Ahri's Q, I think, help that a little bit. She gets the breakpoints on casters a bit quicker. Now the hover for the bot lane, though I do like that both teams are trading lanes, basically, right? First pick jungler, H2k grabs solos, Copenhagen Wolves goes to the bot lane there. And again, every single champion, save Alistar, available for that. And they say, you know, the best bot lane we can go for with everything on the table, Tristana.
And here's the thing, is Woolite, he loves that Tristana. It's a champion that he's very capable of carrying on. And we talked about how Copenhagen Wolves, they need to go crazy in that bot lane to really just spill over to other lanes, because I think they're matched across the board, or outmatched by H2k in the solo lanes. So the thing here is Hjarnan is not a Tristana player. He's a Kog'Maw player. But then Woolite, he's a Tristana player, not a Cog player for the most part. They kind of just reverse them around. I mean, granted, they do play, they dabble in that champion, but it's not their main.
Right,
the other thing
go for it.
Is that Hjarnan, he might back up on the Lucian too. Depends on if they want to hyper carry or not.
Interesting. Yeah, Lucian's been really popular, especially with all the LCS players that went over to Korea now to prepare for Worlds. Like, Lucian's like the top most played for like half the players there. Not like even people who aren't AD carries. It's great. They just pick them up whenever they can.
It's like old Lee Sin.
Yeah.
Everybody in Challenger in Korea played Lee Sin.
Right.
Regardless of if you're a mid laner or not.
Exactly. Like, I'm not a jungler, and my top 3 most played always has Lee Sin on it, because the jungler I always play when I do have to play the role. Copenhagen Wolves not going to make the last few choices. We did see Morgana plus the jungle Elise picked for H2k, saving their AD carry for last. They want to make sure that whatever they pick is safe against the solo lanes of Copenhagen Wolves. I think it's a very smart choice. Can you play a greedy champ like Kog'Maw, or do you have to play something safer like Lucian?
And here's the thing too, is the Morgana was actually locked in to the Nami. I talked about AOD's champion pool where he's playing Nami, Morgana, and that's the last, I think, 7, actually it's even more than that. His last 10 games we've seen him have been only Morgana and Nami. He's played a tiny bit of Zilean. He hasn't really hopped on that train fully. So the fact that they took the Nami away from him kind of forced him on that champion.
Yeah. What's weird here, though, is Copenhagen Wolves got heavy comfort pick for their solo lanes. We've seen Mundo into Rise a million times here, and Youngbuck gets it again. Loves this champion, and the Ziggs is still there for Soren. Yeah, okay, his Orianna, his Xerath are gone, but Ziggs, again, as you mentioned, one of the few champions he's got a win on in the LCS. He gets that for himself one more time as Hjarn then locks in the Lucian for himself in the end.
I believe Soren has played one Ziggs game and won it. So it's his 100% win rate champion while in the LCS.
Hey.
It's his highest win rate, considering his Orianna is about 50%. But the fact that he's going with that comfort pick, like you said, is really big here. And Youngbuck on the Mundo, he's going to have a good time against that Rise.
Well, it's going to be interesting because H2k, right, they knew the match they're going to be playing for weeks now. The picks came out, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago for what matchups they were all going to be for the European Promotion Tournament. H2k knew they were playing Wolves for a very long time. They actually probably could have assumed from the beginning that they would probably be last picked there, kind of perceived as the top dogs there. And they said, yeah, we're going to let you get Ziggs. That was the plan from the very beginning, and we're going to see if that pays out for them. So now that we know the teams, we know the players, and now the champions, we want to know who you think is going to win Game 1. Send a tweet to @LOL eSports with the hashtag CWWin or hashtag H2KWin, and we'll check those results later on in the game.
Yeah, it was about 52% in favor of H2K previously. Over-under, freak, for 60.
I think it's going to be even higher than that for H2K.
I think it's going to be higher in H2K's favor. Okay, so over 60% H2K. All right.
That's my thought on this one.
I had to throw it at you this time.
No, it's completely understandable.
Nice.
Got to turn that one around. Don't worry. I'm still keeping pace, though. We're good.
Yeah.
Got this going. So, Game 1, best of 5. Now, interestingly, H2K has more experience in best ofs than the Wolves do.
That's true.
The Challenger Series is almost entirely best of series the whole way through, whereas basically Copenhagen Wolves...
They didn't get to play a best of this season because they didn't make it to playoffs.
Not since promotion, where they kept their spot, but we'll have to see what they go for.
It's actually a really big thing because adapting your picks mid-series is huge, and adapting to what you lost to the previous game or what strategy helped you win. Do you have a backup strategy, or are you just a one-trick pony? If this Ziggs goes crazy, that might be great for Copenhagen Wolves, but if H2K just ban it out next game, then they need alternative strategies to fall back on.
I agree completely, but you know, with a month worth of practice, you've got to be ready for a lot of different plans coming in. You say, plan A doesn't work, here's plan B. It was actually really fun listening, if you watched Chasing the Cup a couple days ago, listening to what CLG and Cloud9 were saying about their sort of post games in the middle of their series. Was like, yeah, okay, we can't give Bjergsen Ziggs, it's too important, or his Zed rather. You know, Lemon, what do you know about picks and bans? Can we get this champion? Okay, good. Yeah, here's our adaptation for the next game. And it's fun listening to those kind of conversations, to see how teams do their adaptations.
Yeah, Champion Select is something that I think people give teams a lot more credit than they actually do. Because it's actually very hard to adapt mid-series, and a team that does it well isn't as recognized, and people will just sit there and go, oh, that was common knowledge. Right?
Sure.
Whereas it's very hard, especially when you have to deal with everybody on your team's champion pools and how they synergize within each other. Like, if you guys can't get the Ziggs again, does that change the entire composition of what everybody else has to play because you don't have a wave clear champion that guy can play again? It's all these different things that go into it. But aside from just picks and bans theory, the game that we have at hand, Game 1, is kind of a feeler game here between the two. See how well H2K can hold their theory of dominant lanes. Can Copenhagen Wolves get Woolite going? Have to see.
Gonna have to. H2K, nice move here. They're gonna actually pull the lane to make sure it focuses the first minion.
Fast
and
push.
That will now allow H2K a freeze in this lane.
So they pull it into it, you Fog of War with the bush, and then they all focus that first melee minion. It's a very good strategy there. And look at that, AOD, he's gonna waste no time. He's gonna go straight into the jungle and see the route that they started. He's also gonna know that Woolite is top, so Unlimited is doing the same thing.
All right, so a lot of information here. Yep, Unlimited's like, all right, yep, blue buff taken, red buff still... Oh, am I backwards? No, yeah, red buff's still up. I couldn't see the coin for a second. Wolves actually going for an invade on this one. They're going to have 3 men strong. Of course, the dual lane of H2K still on the bottom side of the map. That trinket ward, though, is crucial. And look at that CW buff advantage early on.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get themselves a 3 buff start here because of the side and the fact that they didn't actually go straight from blue to red and they didn't mirror it exactly on H2K's side. So Trashy, he's going to have to find a different move to make here. He's not going to get a red buff out of this.
I think it might be awarded to a dragon. Unless they're really just going to take... Wow, they're just going to take some XP off of the race. They don't feel confident enough. And look at that. It was... That's so smart.
The setup by
the Wolves
Copenhagen Wolves.
are playing this really, really well. They got a greedy start, didn't get punished for it. They knew that they lost control of bottom jungle, so they counter-jungled their own jungle on purpose to deny Trashy. What a start by Wolves.
It reminds me of that video where there's that guy who's counter-jungling his own jungle. It's like, why are you doing that? Just clear the whole entire thing. It's like, no, because they're going to invade me and I don't want to give them experience.
Well, in this case...
It's the next level strat, though.
I mean, it's the right choice. That was awesome by Wolves.
That was very, very meta.
Yeah. No, it's exactly the right term there. Understanding how the game is played and playing around it.
Look at that. Come back. It's cleared. Oh,
great.
Obviously, they invaded. Then they got almost nothing out of it. They got, what, 5 gold, 8 gold.
Now, they did take the double golems at the very least, but yeah, no dragon taken out. Wolves got 3 buffs. No punishment at all for the lane swap. Their Tristana Woolite is still farming.
And this is their new jungler that they brought back in, Airwax, who was always team fight oriented, always brawly oriented. Here's the thing too, is if you're shutting down Trashy, he's not making those early game moves that he loves to make. His pressure is just going to be a lot lower than it normally is.
And Copenhagen Wolves as well have done a really good job of putting aggressive trinket wards down. They're really spotting this eastern jungle here, keeping tabs on what Odwamna and Trashy are even doing.
Wow.
So back in the 2-on-2s they go, and Wolves up a little bit in gold and XP, I believe, by the time this starts.
Yeah, so here's the thing is, Hjarnan, he keeps doing that. He keeps dragging the melee minions into the bush, so they all focus the first one. So this wave is pushing towards his turret, despite it having nobody on Copenhagen Wolf's side attending that lane. And this is a perfect freeze by him.
It absolutely is, and you can see how much Youngbuck has to sort of respect this. He's up to the turret right now only because of wards seeing that Trashy went back to his own jungle. But otherwise, he was forced to only last hit with cleavers. It was a really difficult situation for him. Airwalks now feels safe because, again, of the wards they had down earlier. Vivian might get to punish him a little bit, but no, he's just going for the recall.
Nope. He sees that, pings him out.
Airwalks is very far ahead.
That red buff actually hasn't been cleared yet either.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So Trashy, he won't get his hands on a red buff for a very, very long time.
Good instinct there by Odwamna to put the ward down, but of course he is still in a really rough lane. He's level 2 versus 5 in that top lane. There's no way he can do anything useful up there.
I really like this strategy from Copenhagen Wolves because they're playing to their strengths, because we talked about it at the start. H2k, even Trashy said there's going to be a lot of pressure on Airwax to perform because Trashy's such an aggressive player. He's on this Elise, which has early game pressure. He didn't get himself a red, so he's a little bit behind. And he's not going to have one for a long time. He's not able to influence these lanes, tip them in H2k's favor, and that is what Copenhagen Wolves want. They want to be able to stall this out until the team fight starts, because that's where they have excelled.
And what's great about this, though, I just keep thinking about the early game of Copenhagen Wolves. It's all I can think about because it's so damn good. How far ahead Airwalks is of Trashy right now, in terms of his mindset. Because Trashy pretty much had to show up top lane to shove the wave out to give Odwamna a chance in that lane. And Airwalks is already waiting in the brush, is like, if Elise shoved this, we kill them in a 2-on-2. Yeah. And he's like, oh, Trashy's not showing up. Okay, I'm going to farm. And then Trash never shows up. Like, Airwalks is a step ahead the entire time and always making the right choice.
It feels terrible as a jungler myself whenever you come to a camp and you're like, it's cleared. I was just there a second ago. And then they take all your experience, they're taking your gold. And despite the CS being fairly close, the big buffs have gone in Copenhagen Wolves' favor, and the fact that the big creeps have too. So Trashy, he's got to keep himself just strong at this point and wait until he can start operating and getting some ganks down, because this is completely unlike him. Yeah. Where he hasn't ganked, and it's the 7-minute mark. But that's because Copenhagen Wolves put him in that situation. Yep. But despite all that, H2k are a little bit ahead in gold.
Yeah, they've actually managed to hold up in their lanes. You can see 59 to 54 in the mid lane there. We're watching Forbidden versus Soren XD. That's going just fine. The bottom laners are farming equally, though Tristana has a higher ceiling for her. And heck, I mean, at least Odwamna on Rise has his tier and is stacking up. So the elements there for H2k are working.
So Trashy actually hangs out in this bottom lane. Hjarnan hitting level 6 and just shoving it out. They did see, oh wow, Airwax goes straight for this blue buff here. They're going to have to collapse on him, but I don't know if they have the numbers here from H2k to deal with that just yet.
They are outnumbered. You've got Rise and Morgana topside right here. It could be a bit of a 4v4 if he TP's in. Airwax grabs the blue already. Culling is down. TP. There's the teleport. Soren is going to zone back Trashy for a second. But Nami is stuck on the wrong side of the map. There comes Airwalk, looks for Forbidden. There's the ulti pop. He finds Unlimited, who's there. Yep, he's going down. That's the word I'm looking for.
Blue buff for first blood for H2k on Forbidden with an assist on Hjarnan. They catch him out of position. Believe he still had his flash available too, doesn't blow it.
This is very unfortunate, though. You've got to have a team more prepared to collapse than that, though, and defend this. This could have been a good 4v4 for the Wolves. It just didn't happen.
Well, the thing, too, is that if you looked at what the 4v4 would have been, H2k wouldn't have had their support, but then Copenhagen Wolves wouldn't have had their AD carry, who's level 7.
True.
So the level advantage was in H2k's favor, and the fact they were able to TP their top laner down.
Yeah.
Which meant that it was AD carry for support trade in that.
To be fair, it is a one-item AD carry. Like, Kiarden's over there on
levels.
Yeah, but I mean, Sherman's there on Doran's Blade, right? Like,
don't argue with me on this, freak.
You know what? Okay,
don't argue
fine.
with me on this.
All right. Either way, you're right. Copenhagen Wolves chose to not do much there. They did lose their support, and that is H2k now getting a nice little lead for themselves. Wolves, though, not done with this. They go back to the Dragon on this one. Heal comes out from Unlimited. Only level 3 on Nami, but you know what? This Dragon's going down rather fast.
Yeah, they see this. They go straight for it. Trashy's not going to have anything to say about it either. Instead, they're going to leave Oduwam on top. He's just going to farm out.
Well, TP was down. He walked back to the lane. Smart choice by Wolves to realize that was happening, and now Copenhagen Wolves 400 gold up. Game 1 of potentially 5 on the road back into the LCS. Trashy, double kill on wards here.
Oh, could have been a triple. But of course, does he have the attack speed? Yes, he does. Getting Frenzy.
Yep.
GG. Double ward kill. That's actually worth clapping for.
Yeah, that was a good one. But we're going to see how this game continues to pan out. We are not seeing too much more action right now. It was I guess you could say, kind of a failed invade there by Copenhagen Wolves, and otherwise a good Dragon attempt for them. And actually, that's a pretty big improvement for them when their big difficulty was objective control. And so far, they've done a pretty smart job of that.
Ooh, you win this one, freak.
Over
60 for H2k.
Yep. They are currently behind here.
So close.
Still counts.
Even
if it swapped below, it still would have counted.
Yeah. Anyway, regardless.
Back on that.
Regardless, now we're having the 1-on-1s in the top lane, 2-on-2s in the bot lane because the Dragon is gone. And the fact that Copenhagen Wolves are able to rotate appropriately at the right time and take advantage of the TP that was down. They still have this aggression. And this bot lane is something that we have to keep an eye on for Copenhagen Wolves, because Woolite, he got the free farm Tristana, which is a really big boon for Copenhagen Wolves. They want to try to push this advantage. He's up in CS over Kiarden at 10 minutes. And now, very level-dependent AD carry being level 8. It's really big for Copenhagen Wolves. I think Woolite, they set him up for success. Copenhagen Wolves are just playing to their strengths.
They absolutely are. It's so far working just fine for them. 700 gold leads still, and money's in all the right place for these guys. Vivin trying to make a play in the mid lane.
Got him.
Yep. Dealt the damage, and Soren's like, yeah, don't even try that.
So the jungle movement is something that is actually in favor of Copenhagen Wolves all game long, despite Trashy being such an aggressive jungler by trade. It has begun.
It has.
Anyway.
To the chagrin of many.
Yeah, the fact that Trashy is just now going to get his first red buff of the game at 11 minutes. Oh, really? And that harassment back and forth.
And problem is there's still a Nami over there giving heals and the health potion chug right there. Like, I don't feel like there's any reasonable way to push Woolite out of lane. So Copenhagen Wolves kind of have the bot lane they want here. For what it's worth, the solo lanes actually are heading up. We thought maybe this would be an H2k advantage, the landing phase. Not the case right here. Down the line, you're seeing a numbers lead for every single role except for Nami versus Morgana.
Yeah, H2k, they really rely on Trashy to set up their solo lanes though, and the fact that Copenhagen Wolves shut him down with that early jungle mode, which was absolutely perfect. I don't think I've seen something like that in the Challenger Series before. So Copenhagen Wolves are showing that they have this next level strategy that H2k may not have actually played against before or experienced.
You know, I haven't seen the Challenger Series. They're an LCS team.
Boom. Actually.
Yeah, technically, right?
There's actually a couple that have made it there before.
That's true. See what we can do. Airwalks does look for the top lane here. He's in the middle brush so far. Oduwamna playing pretty far back. I don't know if they can force this, actually. I'm wondering. He has flash and ulti.
If he ultimates, he'll be able to close that distance and get up for the slow.
Yeah, you're right. Airwalks could close with ulti right here.
Oduwamna would have to flash eventually.
Well, it's still pushing down, though, so at some point, Airwalks gets position on it.
Yeah.
Very slowly. You can see how slowly Oduwamna is pushing down. He's trying to go as laboriously as possible.
Oh. There it is.
There's the ulti. There's a jump on in. Nice flash early on by Odwamna, but they're going already. The dive, though, Airwalk's pulse aggro has to flash away. Now Youngbug goes in. He is taking a lot of damage from the turret, though. A lot from Odwamna, but one hit from Dead, and they will get the kill. Airwalks claims that one, and the Wolves fire back with the kill.
Perfect back and forth there under the turret to allow them to get that kill without any retaliation or counter kill. Meanwhile, Trashy, bottom side of the map, giving that blue over to Forbidden.
Yeah, so good read there. Copenhagen Wolves make the dive happen. A lot of time spent by Airwalks, but he gets the kill and good job.
So at this point in the game for Vivid, he has his blue buff, he has his Deathfire's grasp. He should starting to look to kill Soren in lane and roam around. Or at least push the wave out, but it's hard to do against the Ziggs, and then roam elsewhere.
I mean, thankfully for her, she can at least clear the wave, then peace out. She will be under her turret immediately afterwards if she doesn't leave and get something to happen. But yeah, I do want to see where Vivin can go to make plays happen here. Close to 11, he's one wave away. Might wait for that one before he goes. Soren XD already there, ults in. Actually did not have the timer on blue at all.
But he saw that Forbidden had a blue.
That's silly then. You're right, yeah, of course he did.
So it's a little bit...
That's really weird.
It's a... I can't defend that play, so I won't talk about it. Anyway, he uses that Mega Inferno Bomb. He won't have it up if they need it for this Dragon fight, which is coming up in about 50 seconds. Yeah, I think he'll have it by then, because he was level 11, so the cooldown on it is a little bit lower.
Yeah, it's actually 2 minutes flat at all ranks now, so it's going to be...
That's right.
About 25% off based on masteries, so...
He'll have
90-ish seconds.
Yeah, so he's got about 50 seconds left on it.
Okay.
Dragon's up in about 30. So he'll have it for the fight if it doesn't erupt immediately.
Well, we'll see if that's the case there. H2k still showing with their dual lane on the bot side here. Woolite did back for an Infinity Edge now by 15 minutes in, so that farm and the Dragon has gone well for him. Both teams have answered.
There's
the flash in by AOD. Hoodoo does not stop, but he gets the bind onto Unlimited. There's a flash Cocoon as well. Unlimited trying to get away. Exhaust on. Nice repel in the bubble. And there's a flash in. Charna gets one there. Trashy gonna get the heal in time to survive. Woolite knocks him to safety.
The crit almost taking Trashy out there. The heal coming up huge. There was actually a canceled teleport there by Youngbuck. I believe Odwamna probably interrupted it with the Rune Prison. Yeah,
I think Ult Rune Prison might have had that one happen there. Airwalks gets the slow on here and then, but nothing else picked up. Wow.
Big play there for H2k. They got a teleport out of it. They also got multiple flashes, and they got a kill. This is going to be a counter dragon by Copenhagen Wolves, and Yarnen's here to try and apply some pressure, but he can't do it by himself.
Not even going to happen. So Airwalks so far has every kill on his team, has made the dragons happen as well. I think good choice so far to put him back in the team. This is looking not too bad for Wolves. Even though they're losing in kills, they are winning in gold.
Yeah, look at this. Walk forward. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago. We're going to put that in where Roots
in a lane.
it.
It's true.
Also interrupts Shen ultimate.
It does. In a lane far, far away.
Yes. When he wants to go to a different lane that's far, far away. You can stop him with just a Rune Prison.
Even stops hyperdrive.
So these are a couple misplays here from Copenhagen. Was the Mega Inferno Bomb, the teleport in range, in vision of Odwamna, and not capitalizing off of it. Like, you can bait a Rise further back if you actually want to bait it with teleport. You know, it's a plausible play, but there's no way that that was going to work out in Youngbuck's favor unless Odwamna was just completely checked out.
That's true. You got to walk into a brush or something, right? Like, get behind a wall to block vision. Like, there's got to be some way to do that better. So unfortunate by Youngbuck. Loses the TP for nothing really valuable gained back.
Yeah, it looked like a desperation TP to try and reinforce his team.
He's like, help me bot, and he's like, all right, I'll try, and then didn't do much. Bomb's gonna hit. So far. Yeah, I mean, Soren's getting zigs, and he's doing fine with it. The only kill that Fibin has was off the really, really risky invade that happened earlier in the game. Otherwise, he's just kind of towing the line, farming.
Trashy off on the side. Airwalks. Oh, they catch him.
Cocoon hits. Rune Prison does as well. There's the stealth. There's a jump away.
Gonna repel.
A lot of damage comes through. Yes, the repel does come in, but Trashy is slowed anyway. Youngbuck now putting his pressure down. Ulti's in to keep himself alive, but he's losing a lot of health, and he overstays. Odwamna gets the kill.
Trashy, now that he's able to start ganking lanes, is really getting H2k into this game, at least keeping them into this game, because Copenhagen Wolves have been getting their leads off of dragons and objectives, which is something that wasn't happening in the LCS, so they're really turning it around here today and showing that their boot camp paid off. But can H2k just play to their style and come out on top?
Well, let's see what they can do with this one. They're back to an 800 gold deficit. Not too bad for being down 2 dragons. And it is Trashy doing what he can to get his lanes ahead here. We'll see that's going to be enough. Finally, iEdge is done. Illusion. Charna is farming just fine. I mean, they're still farming well, just there's so few plays to be made from H2k. It's a very slow road back in.
And I'm thinking about it more and more. In Copenhagen Wolves, they do have, at the moment, until the hyper late game, they have, actually even then, it's kind of like a mid game where H2k would overtake them in dragon fights, but Copenhagen Wolves just have a better dragon fighting team composition here.
Yeah.
With Woolite, his mid game, you know, will be decent, but Tristana with Static Shiv and IE basically overcomes that. Soren will have a lot of zone potential versus Fabevin, who really wants a catch before they get the objective. So H2k are looking for lane dominance into picks before a fight, whereas Copenhagen Wolves are looking to survive lanes, then just take every dragon and take every dragon fight. They are playing to their team fight style.
They absolutely are.
Whereas H2k, trying to get the picks, trying to get Fabevin rolling, trying to dominate that early game. Hitting around those mid-game spikes. The next dragon, I think it'll probably go I think it'll go contested this time.
Okay.
But mostly off of Cocoon, Binding, Charm. You have to dodge these 3 CCs.
It's true, yeah. H2k can definitely pick people off out of nowhere if these guys aren't careful. Copenhagen Wolves so far, though, aside from getting lane ganked, have done a pretty good job of not getting picked off. And again, Fabevin has still been locked down, unable to leave his lane in any meaningful capacity. As Soren continues to get the Ziggs farm going. And keep in mind, of course, they've got 3 of the best late game champions in their roles. Actually, hell, like every single champion down the line is like one of the best late game champions in that role. The only exception being like maybe Rise outdoes Mundo, but that's kind of it.
Yeah, and they have to group up because H2k have too much hard CC that they could focus on one person. That person would immediately be picked off. There's no way you're going to survive Cocoon, Charm, Dark Binding,
even Young
Rune
Buff.
Prison.
He died to 2 people.
Yeah, off the back of a Rune Prison, and then the Red Buff slow, Cocoon, just all of this just allows them to apply unanswered DPS.
We're going to see H2k right now putting 3 members in the mid lane right here. Bot lane is building up against them, though. It looks like they're going to send someone down there soon.
I like the fact that H2k, they stocked up on wards. Trashy, I think he actually has 2 pink wards in his inventory sitting there, because what they want to do is deny this area around Dragon. They've been denying it for about 2 minutes now, even before Dragon is even close to being up. They want to deny this vision, get a poke right before.
Fabevin dodges the bubble, but takes a lot of damage back. That is a fairly important ultimate. It comes up right about the time Dragon respawns, though. With some health lost.
Yeah. H2k, they're most likely going to give up this turret in the mid lane.
Nice.
That's going to be Copenhagen Wolves with a little bit of an advantage off of that.
Good job by
seconds on Dragon.
Yeah, good job by Soren and Airwalk to make that happen. 45 seconds on Dragon, as you say. But this turret's losing a lot of health there. The Zig Siege working quite well, and heck, plays right into their game plan. Group up as 5, don't get picked off. Play with 2 of the best Siegers in the game. Arguably probably the 2 best, Ziggs and Tristana. This is exactly what Wolves want.
Yeah, H2k, they're going to have to pick people off before fights start, and then their siege isn't really that great either. They rely on picking people off who are out of position. And Copenhagen Wolves, they got this opportunity to ward up the Dragon. They have 15 seconds on it, and H2k's plan for about the last 2.5 minutes has kind of fallen flat off of that pick.
Yeah.
Off of that damage that was applied to Fabevin.
Well, DFG will not come up in time for the Dragon attempt. His death cap not going to be done either here, so this might be a power spike that H2k has to wait for. Good bind on Airwalk doesn't mean too much, though, is the problem. As Wolves have just great push pressure over and over and over again.
Oh, Woolite
pushes back Trashy.
Trashy has to be completely zoned out by that level 12 Tristana. Thankfully, his red buff just wore off for Trashy. So Woolite can now poke him, but not keep him close to him.
So here we go. H2k trying to contest this one. They do have the teleport on Odwanda who's pushing top. Youngbuck is waiting with the team here on Dragon. H2k, I'm not even sure why they're baiting Dragon here, because they're getting free pushes top lane here.
They're trying
to take damage
into CC range, but they're also trying to get damage on that top turret. Copenhagen Wolves are going to have none of it, and they're going to go straight for the mid lane.
Smart choice by Wolves. They give up on the Dragon. They take mid lane tier 2 100% for themselves. It's going to be a Dragon trade and maybe a top lane outer, but Inhibitor's going to be under fire soon.
And here comes the ultimate.
Oh! Well, that just happened. Trashy even spited that one. Wolves now in this one. Culling used to deal a bit of damage.
That
Airbox
makes up
quite low.
for the blue buff ultimate.
Yeah,
from Soren.
I'm pretty sure.
100%. Every Dragon this game
Yeah.
for Copenhagen Wolves.
Double their average. We're not even done yet.
That's true.
Yeah. I like that stat, by the way. Thanks for finding that one.
You're welcome.
That's not on you. Let's be real here. We have amazing stats guys in the backstage.
On behalf of our stats guys,
Props
you're
off to Miss Tom and Yetwin for being badasses.
Oh, man. Anyway, that dragon was not worth for H2k. They went to contest it, but it got picked up.
What?
Boom.
That was such an early smite. In Vision of a Ward, too. Man, that's a rough misplay, though.
Yeah, and
there's no excuse for that.
They got punished by losing a mid inner turret. They got punished by losing the dragon at the same time. H2k got nothing for it. They pretty much could have stayed in their base. Copenhagen Wolves got dragon, went mid, got a turret, and then H2k fought them. That's pretty much what happened for all intents and purposes.
And look at this. Copenhagen Wolves now up 3,500 gold for all this. And the thing is, I realize Wolves have very few kills, but they are just a team where it's like, group is 5, siege, and you kind of win. And as they wait for late game, that works well for them too. So it's not on Wolves to play aggressively here.
No.
They get to say, yeah, every 6 minutes, play for an objective. Just be smart about your teleport cooldown. And so far, so good. Oh,
they're looking for a pick there on Airwalks because they're looking for that guy who isn't grouped up with the rest of the team. And they're trying to counter push. The push from H2k isn't that quick, especially in comparison to Copenhagen Wolves at this point.
Well, outer turret's traded so far, but top lane tier 2 already under fire right now. Kha'Zix is isolated from the team, though. Ironic for that champion. But it's going to be the retreat now for Wolves. They realize they could get pinched. This could be a really good thing for H2k. Can they make it in? There's the culling. Soren tries to zone them back with a minefield.
Here comes the ultimate from Odoamne. Is he going to flash from prison?
Ziggs ulti comes in as well. Good damage being dealt. There's the tidal wave to disengage. And this is too much damage by H2k. They're forced back. 2 CCs coming in. And look at the damage. The Ziggs bomb's almost enough. AOD goes down to Woolite. And now Airbox is going to be in range. Trashy. One hit from Dead repels. Does get farther away. The knockback in as well from Trish. But Copenhagen Wolves not being turned around.
They did exactly what they needed to do for their win conditions. They set up themselves to survive the lane. They kept Trashy down. And this is the fruits of their labor. Youngbuck, he's huge right now. He got himself his Warmogs, he's got himself his magic resistance. Then there's Woolite, who got the solo farm lane, 2-item Tristana, he's ready to rock. And Soren, comfort champion, 100% win rate in the LCS for him. I think it's going to be banned next game, but right now, it's working out for him perfectly.
He's doing exactly what he needs to do. Hold the lane, keep Ari from roaming, and contest whatever objectives he can from long range. Working out perfectly. Very few deaths in this roster, and they've now started to set up the top jungle and Baron as well. So just slow and steady, Copenhagen Wolves playing the objective game and not trying to do much else.
And it's something that you typically don't see from the Copenhagen Wolves. The fact that they had, we said it multiple times, the least dragons out of any European LCS team in the summer split. Right now, most dragons in the game, only dragons in the game in their favor.
Jungle control has definitely been the name of the game for Copenhagen Wolves so far. Done a great job of this one. And of course, Baron is on the table. The cool thing I like about this comp, though, is they don't have to Baron to win the game.
No.
They can set up in front of a turret, and that will work for them. Like 90% of the time, unless they get really, really, like, luckily binded over a wall they don't see coming, they're pretty much guaranteed to make a siege work.
Yeah, the thing here with this composition for Copenhagen Wolves is if one person gets picked, like on a solo side lane, Woolite's just going to go fast push a turret.
True.
And if H2k try to push, Copenhagen Wolves can go push a different lane and they will push faster. Right now, though, they're trying to get into the anti-siege mode.
Oh, done.
Yep.
Siege antied. Wait 30 seconds. New wave's coming soon. All right, Wolves have healed. They've bought. They've regrouped. There's a million MR in health, and Youngbuck now, he's going to be very hard to kill.
Looking for the pick, looking for the flank.
The Viven goes for it. Black Shield is on. Can they get themselves in, though? That brush is not warded, so no vision at all. And Odoamne goes in for the Rune Prison anyway. Does not find anything for it.
They got a tidal wave, and there's no Mega Inferno Bomb.
Okay.
So
they're back at it.
Two things that H2k, if they realize they can use to their advantage, just don't get flanked, and they can start pushing in.
H2k is so afraid of them. They had the inside track on tier 2 and said, there's a Kha'Zix piece.
Yeah, Kha'Zix was off to the right of them, too. They hit Woolite with a binding. No follow-up.
No. So very risk-averse now by H2k. They have kind of only made moves off of Trashy finding ganks. Basically been it so far for these guys.
Odoamne.
Airwalks goes over it. Kind of by himself. Gets a ward down, gets away. And now Copenhagen Wolves look for the bottom lane here. This should be actually a pretty quick push for them. H2k sees it. They are moving over.
they push this out, Dragon up in 35 seconds here. Copenhagen Wolves have a lot of options here, and they're setting themselves up for success, or at least having these options where H2k has to play reactionary.
And here they go. Odwamna coming in, gets the Rune Prison, Airwalk stealth, so is this going to be enough damage, though? Wow, Woolite does fire back, and that is a very low health rise. Zig's ulti forces the flash away. Vivid goes back in, though. Huge damage comes in from the Ahri, and the Wolves force back.
The bomb, not going to hit anybody important. That could be taken down.
Wow. You just hate supports.
No, I said that could be taken down. Just saying, just saying. I backed it up afterwards.
Uh-huh.
All right, but still, they used some zone control there. They were able to push them off of the turret, and now they're going to go for this Dragon. Like I said, this is exactly what Copenhagen Wolves wanted. And now H2k, they might be a little too low, but look at this. Odwamna with the TP flank.
Ooh,
he's on Woolite.
Damage. Woolite is very, very low on health. He's going to force to be running away from that one. Rocket Jump comes through, but Odwamna does go down to Airwalks. 1-0. H2k might have gotten themselves some space, but their players are low too. And they're going to get nothing for this one. 1-0 Wolves. Actually, AOD finds Airwalks, and he trades one back.
No smite.
Who's that for not important?
They have no smite now. So I don't know if they're going to start up this Dragon. Woolite is a little bit low.
If he goes in, he would definitely die to the Wolves here, but they might try. Fivin does have flash. Yana can jump the wall. He's going to try for this one. There's the culling. Unlimited forced away. Low on health now himself, but a Mindfield's going to stop them, and Hjarnan is one hit from dead.
Oh, wow. He has to back
Soren's
right now.
soon.
Soren's about to have his ultimate. AOD caught.
AOD is gonna go down. 4-4 now in kills. Tidal Wave comes across, slows down Fabivin, forced to flash, but he is slowed for so long.
He almost has
the
his
max
ulti.
range Tidal Wave. Ulti comes in, Trashy jumps up, Vivin goes down, heal doesn't come out in time. Another kill for Woolite there, double for him, finds Soren. No, he gets away. Casterman is not quite enough damage. And look at that, the Wolves crush everybody.
They're playing exactly the way they need to. They set themselves up for success with their team composition. They didn't force the Dragon because they didn't have a smite. And Woolite, 4-0-2. Highest kill participation on his team. This is exactly what they wanted. They set that Tristana up in the top lane for success. And now they're looking to ward up this Baron and get more objective control. This is completely uncharacteristic of the Wolves that we saw during the EU LCS.
Unlimited, loses some health. All right, that's going to be fine. Airwalk's going to go in here. This should be a fairly clean Dragon for them. Trashy not up for 5 seconds. Health bars are high enough, they're going to be safe. So this Dragon should be pretty secure.
Yeah, the Baron would be too.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, it's earlier than I'm used to casting.
It's okay.
My brain's like super not working right now.
Man, been back and forth. 100% objective control here for Copenhagen Wolves.
Yep.
Not to mention at the start of the game, they got even more objectives off of the first jungle. Just when you say Copenhagen Wolves, you don't always think objective. You usually think team fighting.
Yeah, you think of a very unimportant jungle camp, but they took all the important ones this game.
Yeah, they did a really good job. Look at that. Even more gold just falling into the camp of the Copenhagen Wolves. Every Dragons game, every Bear in this game, 4 for 4. This is huge for the Copenhagen Wolves, not just in this game, but as a team, that they've completely turned around their playstyle. I mean, granted, it is just one game.
Sure. No, but it's a month of darkness, you know?
Exactly.
And honestly, it's worked really well for them. They're playing a very, very smart game. H2k, I think, are playing too slow for their own good. The fact that they have an Ahri who has literally never roamed all game, to me, is a mistake.
Yeah, the fact that the Ziggs was left up for Soren XD, who's only had success on Ziggs and on Orianna, and giving him that champion in the wave clear and the tools to stall the game out for Copenhagen Wolves' strengths to show is really big. The fact that H2k also picked all these laners who just try to crush the lane and got lane swapped on and had no jungle pressure. The Lucian is not as viable in the late game as the Tristana is for carrying. If Hjarnan had like Kog'Maw or something, then that strategy is okay.
Sure.
The fact that Copenhagen Wolves saw this strategy and played around it is perfect. And you just saw Woolite going crazy there too.
Yeah, he's done great for himself so far. So good for Copenhagen Wolves. And now this could be the death knell in game 1 for H2k. Plenty big gold lead here, almost 9,000. Significant, definitely. And the Wolves are going to wave through the bot lane and maybe go for this turret here.
Yeah, and I was just looking across the items here. There really isn't any armor for H2k. There's no Frozen Heart for Odwamna, not even Glacial Shroud in his inventory. Now, on the flip side, Copenhagen Wolves are kind of sitting in the same vein. They just don't want to get blown up. There's tons of no Magic Mantle items across the board. I think everybody, there's one on at least every player for the Copenhagen Wolves. So they aren't really afraid of Hjarnan's damage. They're afraid of Vivid blowing them up in Odwamna. But on the flip side, Copenhagen Wolves, they have a lot of AD threats here between Airwalks and Woolite, and H2k haven't itemized against that yet.
It's true. They've been blowing people up. You're seeing it so far. 2-1-0, 4-0-2. Great scoreline for the two AD champions on the Wolves. And now comes the siege. 6 outer turrets all gone. Into the inhibitors they go. Let's see if they can make this happen. A good poke there from the Kazakhs. Vivian loses half his health right there.
Mega Inferno Bomb is still available too, so Soren XD has even more options to poke them off this turret and siege it down.
You see how easy those minions die. Youngbuck happy to tank the turret. They don't even care about this one. More poke comes through. Turret loses more and more and more health. Flash shield also popped from this one. Turrets come in about 10 seconds, or minions coming in about 10 seconds.
Blue buff and Baron buff on Soren XD. He is able to throw out these bouncing bombs to his heart's content. He does not have to stop anytime soon.
So here we go, the flash engage. They want this fight. Woolite does get away though. He stays safe thanks to the Chaos of Unlimited, and the battle will rage on. Youngbuck forced to ult himself. Copenhagen Wolves easy to back out. And a turret finally does go down to purple minions, but you know what? Blue side comes into the bottom inhibitor. That's going to be one picked up here. The Wolves make it into the base.
Their sieging potential is just much higher here for the Copenhagen Wolves over H2k. H2k doesn't really have any defense. They are a pick composition, which relies on CC and somebody being caught out. And they weren't able to make any picks in the mid game or the early game.
No, absolutely not.
And every time they did make a pick, they'd have to back, and Copenhagen Wolves took a dragon off of it.
Right, yeah, the kills were only kills. Yep. Nothing else happened when the champions fell down, so I really can't say a lot of good things have happened so far for H2k. Unfortunate for them, but they can maybe turn this around. It is a best of 5 after all. Many things can change. Quicksilver Sash picked up by Woolite. He kind of knows he's getting Flash imprisoned on. Wants to make sure that doesn't happen any more times here.
Well, if he gets any CC hit on him,
yeah,
he'll be able to cleanse it off and jump away. So that there's no follow-up after the Dark Binding into the Cocoon,
yep,
etc., etc.
There's very few options now for H2k. At this point in the game has kind of eclipsed their reach. It'll take a series of misplays by the Wolves to allow H2k back in here.
Yeah, it's very limiting on what they can do because Copenhagen Wolves itemized their magic resistance, so they can't blow anybody up at this point. The catches onto Woolite, who is the most fed member of the Copenhagen Wolves, are not going to happen as easily. It would have to be a misplay by Woolite. Very big misplay by him.
Yeah.
Right now, H2k sweep this, put wards down. They're trying to make a play here. Woolite is in the top lane. And even if they force something here, Woolite might go straight for an inhibitor turret, and they're going to try to force something.
They missed their opportunity.
The window has closed, and now they're desperate for air. They got to go defend this top lane. There's going to be these super minions pushing in the bot lane at the same time that they haven't cleared out. A lot of things are just pushing H2k against the wall right now.
So Fabiva is going to be forced to hold the bot lane here. Odwamna trying to wave clear top, but he's got to be careful about Tristana damage, of course. Sharona clears that out pretty safely, though, and so far H2k can hold on. But remember, there's a big tank in Mundo who can just sit there in front of the turret and allow shots to come through. Look at the damage coming through. Actually, half health already on the inhibitor turret, and Copenhagen Wolves not done with this one. It's going to just backdoor the whole way through. Down goes another turret, and top inhibitor now available. Minions also inside the base, hitting next turrets right now of H2k. This could be the game right here. Garen tries to push the back. 2 inhibs dead now as well. The Wolves keep getting farther in.
The super minions are knocking on this Nexus turret. They've got very low. And that's just going to be 2 inhibitors down. H2k down about 11,000 gold. Copenhagen Wolves showing they aren't that 8th place team that we saw in week 11.
Playing a very reserved style, playing how they think they could win the game, and so far that's completely panning out. Have to give props to everybody there for doing the right thing. Airwalks does go down to Trashy, and out goes the escape. AOD is low, though. Woolite can chase him down, forces the flash. Crit's not going to be enough. AOD stays up, but it's a 5v4. Can the Wolves still push through anyway? Looks like the answer is yes. They go down for the middle inhibitor turret. That's going to fall as well. Now the final inhibitor is open. Charnan forced away very heavily. And there's the zone. There's the pushback. There's all inhibitors dead. Minions still inside the base. The Wolves happen to play a 4v5, and it works for them.
That was the type of pick that H2k were looking for in the early/mid game. The late game, at this point, when they're 12k down, it's not going to help them. It's just going to delay the inevitable when 3 inhibitors are down. These super minions are pushing against their base so hard, and this gold lead is just almost insurmountable for H2k's team composition against Copenhagen Wolves. Copenhagen Wolves have to get picked off about 3 times.
Yeah. Well, right now, all H2k can even do is say, well, we can exactly, they defend, and they gain some gold for a while. They hope to equalize the items.
But you've seen Copenhagen Wolves, they are happy with just having Youngbuck walk up, tank something, while Moonlight just pelts it down, and Soren XD wave clears.
That's part of what's so good about this composition.
They just have all the tools to just force objectives for themselves. Whereas H2k, trying to win lanes, and then trying to transition into later dragons, but they had no way of really fighting them. They had to pick first, and Copenhagen Wolves never played into that strategy, and it's going to be another Baron for them. Still 100% objective control for Copenhagen Wolves this game.
Absolutely beautiful there. 9 turrets as well. 13,000 gold lead on top of all this. This should surely be the game in the next push here for Copenhagen Wolves. Bottom lane inhib has respawned, but not even that important. H2k, again, all they're trying to do is get some gold back, maybe hit one more item breakpoint before that attempted game-winning siege. We'll see if that can be the fight that H2k can hold.
These double super minions piling into the base requires all of the magic damage dealers. They're at full attention, whereas Copenhagen Wolves, they went back after killing the Baron. They fought. They were ready to take this dragon and continue their 100% objective control. Or maybe they don't even care.
Dragon's a bit much. I don't think it's very required here, because this is.
They don't care.
There's no reason to waste the time when you have dead inhibitors.
Yeah, they
the
don't
30
care.
seconds of Dragon is 2 less super minions you can use anymore. But I'd rather have these super minions at this point.
And there is that inhibitor in the bot lane that respawned. The Banshee's Veils are up to prevent picks from happening on multiple members of H2k.
All right.
The last stand for H2k.
So they wait behind the wall looking for a cocoon or a binding across the wall. Won't happen there. Willie does get stunned though. H2k were not ready to go in on that one though. They've got to back up. Now Copenhagen Wolves are up to the inhibitor itself. They're going to re-kill this one. Odwamna so low, forced to flash away. The culling does basically nothing there, and down goes the inhibitor. Trashy, low on health, 2 hits from dead. One more crit. Will it be the kill? Yes, it is. So Vivid also in a really bad spot. Willie tries, but the Black Shield keeps him alive. But here comes the game-winning push. Both Nexus turrets dead. Game 1 goes to Copenhagen Wolves.
Playing to their strengths, their composition, and completely turning a 180 from the last time we saw them, and their track record of not controlling objectives.
So H2k came in feeling like the favorites as well. They felt #1 challenger team. Wolves have been slumming for a while. They had to roster swap their jungler back in, someone they initially didn't even want to keep playing with.